Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are going to be looking at our bones, getting down to bare bones. We're going to be using our own body weight to encourage bone density. You are never too young or too old to work on your bone density. Osteoporosis is a dirty word that you don't want to become too familiar with. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and feel comfortable to ease your way into child pose and take a time out should you need it. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class, standing towards the top end of the mat. Stack your feet in parallel underneath your hips, tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and as you float your hands to prayer position, I want you to maybe close your eyes, take your focus in and bear down through your feet. I want you to find your pada bandha, your foot lock. Make sure that your foot is firmly grounded into the mat by bearing down through your big toe, your baby toe, and the heel of your foot. We're going to keep looking for this pada bandha, this bearing down, this connection to the earth, to the mat, through our feet today, the pada bandha. From here, you're going to gently launch the weight off your heels and come back down, finding that pada bandha. You're going to do that a few times, almost thinking of bobbing your head up and tapping the ceiling, and then coming back down and finding that connection to the mat. Stay here or flow into the next progression, and the next time you come up onto the heels, float all the way down, coming onto the haunches, and then peel back up to your start position. Play with it, floating onto the haunches and coming back to your start position. Ease back to your original starting position, standing in Samasthiti, grounding through the feet. Take a big breath in, float your hands gently overhead, coming into a back bend, and then draw back to your start position, hands in prayer. Play with that back bend 3 times, making sure that you're keeping that foot lock into the mat. Then find your way back to prayer. Bump the weight back into your bum and your heels, come into a chair. And then we're going to play dynamically with this chair and a figure 4. Float up along the center line, lift your right foot off the floor, tuck the foot to the top of your left thigh and sit back into a figure 4. Come back to the center line, exhale and sit back into a chair, weight into your bum and your heels, float back up along the center line and find your chair line on the left. The hands stay in prayer the whole time that you're playing. Let's try that one more time on each side. Sit back into your chair. Peel back up along the center line. Find your figure 4 on the right. Come back to the center line. Take a seat. Last little figure 4 on the left. Soften the knees as much as you need to and come down into a forward fold, trying to connect your hands to the mat if you can. Bend and extend through the legs. If your hands can't reach the floor, then slide them up, bracing them either on your shins or on your thighs for me today. Whether you're connected to your leg line or to the mat, I want you to look for that foot lock and now add the hand lock, the hasta bandha. Make sure that you're just connecting through the fingertips, not bearing down into the palm, but rather hollowing out through the palm and drawing the energy up through your arms. Come to stillness and step back into a plank line. Keep that hasta bandha, keep drawing the energy up through the hands, brace your core. We're going to chaturanga down using knees or no knees. As you come down, try to hug those elbows in towards your ribs. Hold, pause, maybe hovering off the floor for a second. Then release to your belly and set up a cobra. Relax the bridges of your feet and relax the forehead to the mat. Pretend you've got a little marble underneath the nose. Roll the marble away from you to the front of the mat. Start peeling up. One rib at a time. Stop in a baby cobra line with your bottom rib connected to the mat. Push the elbows away. Create space from the ears and the elbows, and then grow from your pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Hold that cobra line or morph into an up dog by pushing through the palms and the bridges of your feet. Keep that Hasta Bandha through the hands. Try to stretch the top of your toes. And then hold the up dog position as you tuck the toes under and push the weight back into your heels. Keep that Hasta Bandha through the hands. Then morph into a down dog. And as you come to the down dog, shift the feet in if you can. Try to ground through the whole foot, finding your foot lock, your Pada Bandha. And then make sure that you haven't lost the hand lock, the Hasta Bandha. Keep looking for opportunities to ground to the mat through your feet and through your fingertips. Then think knee to nose and come back into a down dog. Knee to nose, down dog. Knee to nose plank, down dog. We're going to step up one leg at a time. Find your forward fold, preferably hands on the mat if you can, and try to hold your weight even with the legs extended, or you can play with a bend and extend if the back chain of your legs is still a bit on the tight side. Keep looking for that foot lock, the Pada Bandha, and the hand lock, the Hasta Bandha. Make sure that you're not leaning into your wrist line, so fingertips connected and pushing off the earth, hollowing out softly underneath your palms. Soften through the knees, peel back up, find that root through your feet, and float your hands into a modified mountain Tadasana. Launch off the heels and reconnect that foot wide. Play with that movement dynamically. Keep looking for that beautiful root through your big toe, your baby toe, and the heel. Stay or start moving with a dynamic haunch line. Coming all the way onto the haunches and back up. If your balance is good, keep your hands in prayer the whole time. Otherwise, play with the hand line, maybe floating the arms out in front and then coming back into prayer. Play with it. See what works for you today. Ease your way back into your original mountain, hands in prayer. Take a big breath in, float into a soft back bend, and then ease your way back to mountain. Make sure that you're rooting through the feet the whole time. So look for that almost bearing down through the skeleton into the feet. Last one. We're going to play with the dynamic chair line. On an exhale, sit back into a chair, wait until your bum and your heels. Come back up along the center line and find a figure 4 on the right. Keep floating between the seated chair along the center line and alternate your figure 4 on the left and the right, trying to shoot for at least 2 repetitions on each side. Keep the hands in prayer the whole time. Keep your focus or your gaze on a drishti or a focal point on the wall in front of you. Ease your way into a forward fold, trying to connect your hands to the mat if you can. Bend and extend if you need to, or establish your hand and your foot lock and keep grounding through the earth, through your whole foot, baby toe, big toe, heel, and your fingertips for the Hasta Bandha, hollowing out through your palm. Step back from here into a plank line. Keep that Hasta Bandha, so don't collapse through your shoulders. Keep pulling up energy through the fingertips, hollow out through the hands. We're going to use the Chaturanga Dandasana to come down with control, bending those elbows, hugging them in towards the ribs, hovering off the floor for a second or two. Then release to the belly, relax your feet, nod your forehead to the mat, and come up into a little cobra. Roll your marble away, start peeling up through the ribs. Find your baby cobra line. Find your Hasta Bandha through the hands. Drop the elbows away from your ears as you connect strongly through the fingertips. And then think of growing from your pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Stay here or morph into an up dog, pushing onto the palms and the bridges of your feet. Find that Hasta Bandha. Make sure you're not collapsing through the wrist line. Hold your up dog and tuck your toes under, pushing back into the heels and keeping that firm Hasta Bandha through the hands. Ease your way into a down dog and try to find a foot lock and a hand lock. Pada Bandha and Hasta Bandha. Hold that little stretch as you find your down dog frame. Then think knee to nose plank and come back to your down dog. Knee to nose plank As you find your down dog, make sure you're finding that foot lock and that hand lock. Last one. You're going to step up one leg at a time, rooting underneath your feet. Come back into your forward fold, Uttanasana. Find your foot lock, Pada Bandha. Find your hand lock, Hasta Bandha. Trying to keep the weight bearing equal on the whole foot and making sure that you're not leaning into the heels of your hands. So rooting to your mat through your fingertips and almost softly hollowing out through the hands. Soften through the knees, peel up. We're going to run through that sequence one more time on each side, moving with more fluidity. Launch off your heels and ground through your feet. Keep looking for that foot lock. Stay here or come into a little haunch hold, bringing the heels up off the floor, and every time you come back to mountain, rooting through your feet and finding that Pada Bandha. Find your way back into your soft mountain frame. Take a big breath in, float your hands overhead, and then come back down along the center line, hands in prayer in front of your heart. Doing that 3 times, keeping that foot lock the whole time. Find your chair, Utkatasana, and then float into a standing figure 4 on the right. Come back to your chair. Take the standing figure 4 on the left. Let's do that one more time each side. Making sure that you splay that knee nicely open to the side as you find the figure 4. Come down along the center line, bending the knees if you need to find your way into your forward fold, bending and extending through the legs if you need to. Or if your body is sufficiently warmed, hold your forward fold, find your foot lock, find your hand lock. Watch that you're not leaning all the weight into the heel of your hand. Use your fingertips. Ease your way into a plank line. Nice and strong, hold steady. Make sure you've got that hand lock, Hasta Bandha. Let's Chaturanga down, bend the elbows, come down with control. Ease your way onto the belly and set yourself up for a soft cobra. Roll that marble away with your nose. Start peeling up through the ribs. As you find your baby cobra line with the bottom rib connected, find your Hasta Bandha through the hands. Drop the elbows and the shoulders away from the ears and grow from your pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Morph into an up dog. Push through the palms. Make sure that you find your Hasta Bandha. As you find your up dog, keep those fingertips working. Tuck your toes under, holding your up dog frame, strong through the core. Morph into a down dog and reconnect that whole foot to the floor. So step up the feet slightly if you need to find your foot lock, your Pada Bandha, and then reestablish your hand lock, your Hasta Bandha, if you've lost that connection. Let's think knee to nose and back to the down dog frame on the right. Doing that at least 3 times. And then using that knee to nose to step up one leg at a time, reestablishing your forward fold, Uttanasana. Find that foot lock, find your hand lock. Try to hold the weight distribution equal, working the front and the back chain of the body. Soften the knees, keep that foot lock as you float your hands back to prayer. Find a soft mountain frame. Launch off the heels and reestablish your foot lock. Doing that a few times, either staying here or starting to play on the haunches, peeling the heels off the floor, bending through the knees, coming down as far as you can to peel back to your start position. Keeping your hands in prayer or floating dynamically, maybe bringing them out in front of you, helping with the balance as you play. Ease your way back into Tadasana, mountain. Keep that foot lock. Big breath in, take a gentle back bend, and come back with the hands down along the center line. Doing that 3 times, keeping it gentle. Feet firmly rooted to your mat. We're going to play with that little chair line. Exhale to sit back into your chair. As you peel up, find a figure 4 on the right and sit back. Come back down along the center line, take your chair, find your figure 4 on the left. Try to keep the hands floating in prayer, or maybe bring them to your hips if you prefer. Play where you're comfortable. Once you've done at least 2 flows to each side, you're going to ease your way back into a forward fold. Find your Hasta Bandha, find your Pada Bandha. Bending and extending if you need to. And remember, if you can't reach the floor, maybe give me more bend in the legs and just play with the smaller range of motion, keeping that bend, or connect to the shins or the top of your thighs. But still look for that Hasta Bandha through your fingertips. Step back, ease your way into a plank. Keep your Hasta Bandha through the hands. Chaturanga down with control. Ease your way into the belly. Set up your cobra line. Peel up, 1 rib at a time. As you find your cobra frame, keep that Hasta Bandha through the hands and drop the shoulders away from your ears. Lengthen from your pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Push up into an up dog. Stay on the bridges of your feet for at least 5 seconds, and then holding that hand lock and the core brace, tuck the toes under, modifying your up dog and pausing here for at least a few breaths before you pike your bum up to the ceiling, trying to ground the whole foot. Find the foot lock. Ease into your down dog frame. Work the front and the back chain of the body. Find the hand lock. Find the foot lock. Think knee to nose on the right and come back into your down dog frame. Step up 1 leg at a time, coming into your forward fold and hold. Find your hand lock. Find your foot lock. Peel up along the center line. Hands to prayer in front of your heart. Launch off your heels and find your foot lock. Launch off the heels, find your foot lock. Stay here or start playing on the haunches. Shooting for maybe 3 or 4 repetitions, either keeping your hands still in prayer or using them dynamically for balance. Find your mountain, root through your feet. Take a big breath in, take a soft back bend and come back down along the center line. Make sure that the feet stay grounded to the earth. Find your Pada Bandha. All right, time to play in chair. Sit back into your chair. Find a standing figure 4 on the right. Come back down along the center line and sit back into your chair. Giving me at least 2 repetitions to each side. The last one. Ease your way from here into a forward fold, trying to establish your foot connection and your hand connection. Bending and extending if you need to, or holding steady. Make sure that you're gripping with the fingertips and not leaning into the heel of your hand. Find your foot connection, your foot lock. Step it back into a plank. Hold steady, keeping that hand lock. Chaturanga down with control, trying to hover your body off the floor for a second or 2 before releasing to the belly and setting up your cobra line. Peel that marble away. As you find that connection through your bottom rib, make sure that your hand lock is firmly in position and that you're dropping the shoulders away from the ears and growing from your pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Stay in cobra or push up into an up dog. Find your hand lock. Pause here on the bridges of your feet and then tuck the toes under. Keep your hand lock, keep your core braced. Pause in your modified up dog and then morph into your down dog, maybe scooching the feet a little bit closer, trying to establish your whole foot lock and keeping the hand lock steady. Think knee to nose and come back into your down dog, playing on the left side this time. Doing that a few times. And then using that knee to nose. Just step up one leg at a time, stacking underneath your hips, finding your foot and your hand lock as you come into your forward fold. Peeling up along the center line. Find your foot lock. Float your hands to prayer in front of your heart. Keeping yourself as steady as you can by keeping your eye trained on your focal point, we're going to come into a tree line, Shavasana, on the left, and then we're going to start playing and having some fun on the mat. Bend the left knee, placing the sole of the foot either on the inside of the right leg with the toe connected to the mat, or scooching up the foot a little bit higher underneath your knee line, or reaching for the foot and placing it all the way on the inseam of your right thigh. Find your tree, hands in prayer, root down through your feet and think of your whole skeleton pushing down and bearing down into the earth. At the same time that you're bearing down into the earth, you're trying to almost oppositionally grow your crown and your ears towards the ceiling. So you're bearing down from the pelvis down and bearing up from the pelvis towards your crown. Now see if you can float your hands overhead. Open them up like the branches of a tree opening up, and as you arc or swim around the body, I want you to reach for the left foot and tuck into this standing figure four. Floating your hands into prayer and either staying here with your hands in prayer, bearing down through that footlock on the right, or take the left hand, feed the left hand through your figure four legs, and try to touch or connect to the calf of your right leg. Then just softly float your right arm overhead, trying to keep your balance. Find that footlock, hold it steady. From here, you're going to take a big step back with the left leg. Just windmill your arms open. Open up the feet, tucking the back leg in slightly into 45. Legs are both extended, arms are extended in T, and we're going to find our way into a modified triangle. Take a big breath in, pretend somebody's pulling your lead arm forward. Pop out the back hip slightly and hinge forward from the pelvis. Finding purchase on the floor, maybe pushing your hand against the inside of the thigh or placing your fingertips on the floor. But I want you to root through your front foot, root through your back foot. Make sure that the toes are not peeling up through the floor. Push with the back of your hand if you can against the inside of your leg, arms in a soft T-frame, and then try to grow from your pelvis, sink down and ground through both feet. From your pelvis, try to grow up towards the shoulder blade. So you're pushing down and you're bearing up at the same time. Ease your way from here into a warrior two line, bending the lead leg, scooching the leg forward if you need to, and bearing down through the feet. Keep your gaze steady over the front forefinger. We're going to ease our way into a side angle from here. Take your front arm and place it on the inside of the right foot. You could use a block underneath the foot, underneath the hand, not the foot, my bad, if you need to. Drop the pelvis nice and low to the floor. Stay here or come into a bind. We played with this one last week, bending the bottom arm, feeding it through, wrapping around your bum, and trying to take a soft bind behind your back. Whether you've come to the bound or whether you're staying in the original position with the arms in a soft T, try to drop your pelvis nice and low to the floor. Then unbind the hands if you were in your bind and start rotating through the back leg, planting your left arm underneath your left shoulder and giving me a rotation through the trunk. Stay here or ease your way into a twisted, balancing half moon by creeping your left fingertips forward, pushing the weight off the back leg, keep the foot bind on the front leg, fingertips softly connected to the mat, almost more hollowing out through the hands as you find your Hasta Bandha and your Pada Bandha. Then drop that floating back leg and step your feet into a narrow pyramid frame, both feet looking to the front of the mat. Place your hands on your hips and push the pelvis away from you as you grow through your trunk. Hold this little pyramid frame. We're going to ease our way into a plank line from here, and we're going to chaturanga down. Soften through the knees as much as you need to connect the hands to the mat and step back into a plank. If you're using the knees, keep working the triceps by hugging the elbows in as you come down, hovering off the floor for a second. Ease your way onto the belly. We're coming into a locust line. Drop the arms at your side, palms looking up, legs soft and relaxed and parallel, forehead connected to the mat. We're coming into the full expression, and we're going to grow from the pelvis once we found it. Pretend there's a little marble underneath your nose. Start rolling the marble away as you did in your cobra line. Start peeling up. Find that baby cobra with the rib connected to the mat. And at the same time, peel the arms and the legs off the mat by drawing up from the knees along the quad and the hamstring and lengthening from the shoulder blades towards the fingertips. Try to grow from your pelvis down towards your toes and from your pelvis towards your shoulder line. Ease softly back down to the mat. Bend the elbows, place the hands on the mat, tuck the toes under and push back into the down dog frame, trying to establish your foot lock, your pada bandha, and your hand lock, your hasta bandha. Step up the right leg, stacking underneath your hip. Step up the left leg into the little pyramid. Float the hands up, either placing them on your hips and pushing the hips away, or maybe into a little aeroplane line with the palms looking up at the ceiling and your back line long and lengthened, trying to grow from the pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Then ease your way from here into a soft standing frame with the legs alongside each other. We're coming into a hand to big toe. You're going to think knee to nose. On the left, taking your middle index finger and thumb, giving me a big toe lock, or taking a strap or a hand towel and feeding it around the foot as you extend that leg out in front of you. On your supportive side, your right hand can either be long and lengthened at your side, braced on your hip, or maybe you can open up the arms into T. You could even lean into a piece of furniture if you need to. Keep rooting through that right foot. Find your foot lock and then gently open up into the B line. And if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, maybe just placing the hand on the inside of the knee and drawing the knee open gently. Play with it. See where your body wants to be today. Keep growing from the pelvis down towards the earth and from the pelvis up towards the sky. Peel back towards the center line, shake the legs out. We're going to play with that little sequence on the other side. Make sure that you've got enough room to step back. Ease your way into the tree line on the right. Bending the right knee, either keeping your tree small with the big toe connected to the mat, or scooched up just underneath the knee, or all the way on the top of the left thigh. Find your way to prayer. Find that stillness as you root down, almost bearing down from the pelvis into the earth as you find that foot lock on the left, and then grow from the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Gently float your prayer hands overhead, thinking of piercing the sky, and then swimming or arcing the arms around to reach for the right foot. Find a comfortable resting spot on your left thigh and sit back into a modified figure 4 position. Stay here or feed your right arm through your figure 4 legs, trying to touch the calf of the left leg, and then float the left arm overhead. Keep bearing down, find that foot lock. As you unbind, you're going to open up the legs wide, bringing the back foot in slightly to 45, both legs long and lengthened, hinge forward, popping out softly through the back hip as you set up your triangle line. Push with the back of the hand on the inside of the leg. Find your foot lock on both feet. So make sure you're grounding through the big toe, baby toe, and heel. Grow from your pelvis down towards each foot and from your pelvis up towards your shoulder line. Ease your way from here into a warrior 2 line. So opening up that back foot to 40, Bending, maybe scooching a little bit closer to the earth as you find your warrior two, lengthening through the arms, growing from the pelvis down and from the pelvis up. Find your side angle, firmly planting that the left hand on the inside of the left leg, either staying here with the arms in a soft T-frame or tucking the left arm underneath, feeding through, coming into a bind behind your back. Wherever you are, try to drop nice and low through the pelvis. Make sure you're rooting through the feet. Find that foot lock. And then ease your way into a rotated side angle by tucking the back toe under, beginning to rotate through the pelvis, dropping the right arm underneath the right shoulder, opening up the left arm to the sky. And then come into a little balancing challenge from here, creeping your right hand forward slightly. Keep that Hasta Bandha through your fingertips, floating into a twisted half moon. Find your Hasta Bandha, find your Pada Bandha on your grounding limbs. Then that floating back leg, step it up, make a little pyramid shape between both legs, keeping both legs extended. Brace your hands on your hips, come into a tabletop line and try to push the pelvis away. Try to grow from the pelvis towards the nape of your neck. Soften through the knees as much as you need to. Ease your way into a plank line. Chaturanga down with control. Trying to hover off the floor for a second. Connect to your belly. Arms long and lengthened at your side, palms up. We're coming up into locust, Salambasana. Find that little marble as you roll up through the ribs. Float the arms and the legs off the mat. Grow from the pelvis down towards the tips of your toes and from the pelvis up towards your shoulder line. Balancing on your hips. Long and lengthened through the spine. Grow from your fingertips, your toes, and the crown of your head. Softly ease your way back down to the mat. Whisper softly. Bend the elbows, place the palms alongside your bosom, and push back into your down dog frame. Try to ground through the feet. Find your foot lock, find your hand lock. Hold this little stretch. Piking your bum up to the ceiling, making sure that you're connecting through the whole foot and all 10 fingertips. Step up the left leg, stacking underneath your hip. Step up the right leg slightly, straighten up through the legs. Come back up into your little pyramid frame, either pushing the pelvis away or lengthening into little aeroplane arms. Have those palms looking up to the ceiling. Try to grow from the pelvis down towards your feet and from the pelvis up towards your shoulder line. Peel up along the center line. We're coming to hand to big toe on the right. Think knee to nose. Using your middle index finger and thumb to find your big toe lock, your Padangusthasana lock, or use your hand towel. Supportive hand braced on your hip, maybe long and lengthened at your side, or using a T-frame shape, maybe pushing into a wall or a piece of furniture. Just see what works for you today. Maybe opening up that leg to the side, holding the A line and the B line for at least 5 to 10 seconds each, if you can. Then ease your way softly back to the midline. Give the legs a little shake out. Find your way onto the haunches. Maybe holding here for 5 breaths. Before you take a nice high seat in staff frame or Dandasana, sitting at the top end of your mat. Sit up nice and tall. Arms at your side. Find a soft Hasta Bandha through your fingertips. And try to root through your floating feet, drawing energy up through the tops of your thighs so that your heels are floating up off the floor and you're sitting up nice and tall. Hold for at least 10 seconds, trying to grow from your pelvis towards the ceiling. Root through your bum bones, ground into the mat. Then soften the legs, shake them out. Bend the right knee, place the sole of the foot on the inside of the left leg, sitting up nice and tall. Take a big breath in and rotate to the right. So opposite elbow to knee, hug that knee in towards your chest. Find your soft Hasta Bandha on the backhand. Push off the floor. Root through your bum bones. Brace into your supportive foot. as if you were pushing against the wall and trying to find a foot lock at the same time. Inhale and come back towards the center line, taking the twist in the opposite direction. Placing the right elbow on the inside of the right knee. Push with the elbow against the knee. Resist. Lengthen through that arm, maybe keeping it long and lengthened, reaching for the wall, or dropping the fingertips to the mat. If you've got the range of motion, maybe wrapping around the leg. We played with this one last week, and finding a little bind behind your back, trying to grow through the pelvis towards the ceiling as you find your bind. And then maybe playing with it, creeping your foot forward and trying to take the bind from the inside, maybe rocking the weight off your bum bones to feed the hand through and around, wrapping from the inside as you modify your little Shavasana. And if you want to play, come into a modified bird of paradise, tucking the weight off your tailbone and extending softly through both toes. Peel your way back to the mat. Bend both knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Reach your right hand underneath the legs, reaching for the shin of the left leg. Draw the left leg in towards your bum, bend the knee, and then cross the right foot over the left. We're coming into a modified half lord of the fishes. You're going to cross the opposite elbow to knee, hugging that knee or the knee and the thigh into your chest, and finding a soft hand bind with your other hand on the floor behind you. Stay here or keep your legs as they currently are, finding that foot bind on your lead leg, pushing down through the foot, interlacing both hands behind your back, drawing them into a fist, and maybe nodding your chin towards your chin and your nose towards your knee. Holding steady here or playing with this and trying to take your right hand, so same arm as the leg that's crossed over, feeding it through and maybe trying to tuck and bind behind your back or maybe around the leg from this side and just tucking through. Play with it. See where your body wants to be today. Playing with that movement. And you could make that little space between the legs just a little bit wider as you bind and come around. Ease your way back up along the center line. Shake it up. Sit up nice and tall. Find your staff pose. Fingertips on the floor or maybe stretched out in front of you. Preferably fingertips on the floor if you can, to find that connection through your hands, your hasta bandha, and then pushing softly off your feet, finding a floating pada bandha. Soften through the legs, bend the left leg, place the sole of the foot on the inside of the right leg. Cross opposite elbow to knee, hug that knee in towards your chest. Find that hand lock on the floor behind you. Then take the twist in the opposite direction. Left elbow on the inside of the left knee, push away. Root, push down through the pelvis towards the floor, and then at the same time grow up from the pelvis towards the ceiling. Staying here or taking the bind on the outside of your knee. If this feels too easy, take the bind on the inside, maybe creeping the foot away, feeding the arm through, maybe rocking the weight off your center line if you need to find the bind behind your bum. Play where you're comfortable, maybe taking it into a modified bird of paradise, softening through the toes, lengthening through both legs. Ease your way back to your seated frame, sit up nice and tall. Feed the left arm underneath the legs, reaching for the shin of the right foot. Tuck the leg underneath you. Cross the left foot over the right knee. Make space for your bum. Ground. Find your foot lock on the front leg. Cross over the midline. Hugging or tucking the elbow to the outside of the knee and just hugging that thigh in towards your chest as you give me a modified half lord of the fishes. Maybe taking a big breath in, keeping that foot bind on the front leg as you interlace both hands behind your back. Then coming back to your original position, hugging in or tucking the arm through and finding the bind behind your back, playing where you're comfortable. Unbind. Open up your legs long and lengthened. You're going to give me one roll down to come into a little basket bridge. Sitting up nice and tall, extending the arms out in front. Take a big breath in on and exhale. Nod your chin to your chest. Keep looking towards your belly button as you articulate down one vertebra at a time. As soon as your lower back connects to the mat, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet, and set up your bridge line. Beginning neutral spine with the arms long and lengthened at your side. Knees and feet hip-width distance apart. Feet not too far away from your body line. Take a big breath in on and exhale. Tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Root down through your foot lock. Peel up one vertebra at a time. As you reach the apex of your bridge, either stay here, palms softly pushing down and trying to find a soft hasta bandha, or bend the elbows, give me a little L shape between your index finger and thumb, and tuck that little L-shaped brace underneath the waist on either side, making a basket of support and almost using your hands to pull the pelvis down and at the same time grow from the pelvis towards your shoulders. So a little bit of an oppositional stretch, looking for additional bone density stretches today. Then let go of the hand lock on either side, peel down with control. As you connect to the mat, hug both knees in towards your chest and cradle rock the lower back out. We're going to use that hand to big toe that we did from a standing position. We're going to do from a supine position. So you might need your belt, your strap, or your hand towel. Take your prop or use your middle index finger and thumb to find a big toe lock on the right foot. Take a big breath in and extend that leg up. Drop your bum bone down towards the mat, making your whole sacrum area nice and heavy into the mat. And then see if you can extend your supportive leg, almost trying to find a floating foot lock by pushing against an imaginary wall with your foot. Keep tugging down on that big toe. And then see if you can open up into the B-line, floating your head in the opposite direction to the leg that's traveling out to the side of the room. Try to keep yourself grounded through the mat. Find a soft hasta bandha through your T-arm on the left, and keep your left shoulder and bum heavy into the mat. Inhale and come back along the center line. Bend both knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and repeat on side 2. Finding your big toe lock on the left, using your hand toe or your strap if you need to. Find your hasta bandha on the right, softly pushing your fingertips into the mat, extending your supportive leg out and pushing into that right foot, finding a pada bandha, a foot lock again against an imaginary wall that you're pushing against. Make sure that you're making the left bum bone nice and heavy into the mat and keep softly pulling down, maybe bending the left elbow to add a little bit more work, a little bit more resistance. Then when you're ready, open up into the B-line, opening that leg all the way up to the left or as far as you can comfortably go without peeling your right shoulder or your right hip bone up off the mat. Find your way back towards the center line. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Maybe hug the knees in towards the chest and just gently cradle rock up if you're feeling any tweaks or niggles in the lower back. We're going to find our way into Shavasana and we're going to play it up. Connect the soles of the feet to the mat and then place your hands using that little L shape that we played with when we were in the bridge line. This time, secure it around your hip bones, fingertips looking in towards your hips. Extend the legs out along the mat, and as they fully extend, allow the big toes to reach for the corners of the mat so that your inner thighs splay out. Close your eyes and take your focus in. Push with your hands as if you were trying to push the hips away from you, and at the same time try to grow from your pelvis towards your shoulder line. Try not to pop the whole rib cage out, so push away and grow from the pelvis down towards your toes, and at the same time grow from your pelvis towards your shoulder line. Hold that oppositional stretch for at least 10 seconds, trying to grow down towards your toes and up towards your shoulder line, keeping your eyes closed and your focus in. Keep that lengthening inner work from the pelvis down and from the pelvis up. As you let go of your hip hold and open up the arms at your sides in your Shavasana-like position with the palms looking up to the ceiling. Bring your focus back to your pelvis. Keep your eyes closed and your focus inward. Try to soften from your pelvis down through the pelvic girdle, along the tops and the back of your thighs, through the knee joint, along your shins, your calves, through the ankle joint, towards the very tips of your toes. Soften pelvis to toes. Bring your focus back to the pelvis. Start softening from your pelvis, through the ribs, through the back, towards the shoulder line, from the shoulder line down the length of the arms towards the fingertips, and from the shoulder line towards the nape of your neck, nodding your chin softly towards your chest. Keep softening from the pelvis up into the fingertips and into the nape of your neck. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, softly flop your head off center to the left, and ease up any tension that you might be feeling along the neck and the collar line on the right. Inhale and come back to center. Exhale and drop your head to the right. Ease up any tension that you might be feeling along the neck and the collar line on the left. Inhale, come back to the center line, nodding your chin softly towards your chest. Keeping your eyes closed, bend the knees and connect the soles of your feet to the mat, making your sacrum nice and heavy into the mat and finding your foot lock, your padabandha. Place your hands, or rather brace your hands on your hips and push your pelvis away from the center line. Grow, almost like you're trying to push the pelvis down towards your feet, and at the same time grow from the pelvis up towards the shoulder line. Keep working this oppositional stretch as you softly flutter open the eyes. And when you're ready, softly roll into a fetal position on the side of your body, preferably the right side of your body. Stay here for a couple of gentle breath cycles. And then when you're ready to come up, push into your supportive hand. Find a seated pose of your choice, maybe half or full lotus. Tuck into a seat that works for you. Float your hands to prayer in front of your heart. Close your eyes, take your focus in, and close off your practice by whispering the words, Namaste. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed today's density class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Remember to shoot me your comments and your feedback, and to subscribe with your notification bell on. I shall see you all for Pilates conditioning on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.